Hey everybody. Sorry, I think a minute ago Eric pulled in the driveway and my phone hooked up to the Bluetooth. So I don't know what you guys heard, but hopefully it
Ah,
was okay. Hopefully it was G-rated. All right, so so I'm gonna make apple chips. All right. So I'm gonna make apple chips and also some dip to go with it. And I'm gonna be using our mandolin. So I was so excited when we came out with a mandolin because I knew how much time it was going to save me in the kitchen. And I had been in the market for a mandolin for a very, very long time. And I wanted a mandolin. And I had been looking for a mandolin. I actually bought a mandolin at one point. That was a really great deal. Well, there was a reason it was a great deal because it was really not awesome, and which wasn't ideal because when you have something like a mandolin, you want to make sure it's nice and sturdy. You don't want something that's going to kind of shake and rock and stuff because you could lose a digit, right? So you want to make sure that it's nice and sturdy and it's going to be able to withstand your shaking and slicing and dicing and doing all those things, right? So when Tupperware came, when they brought it to the United States, I think it was in our line somewhere else before it came here, and I about came out of my skin. I was so excited because I knew how much time it was going to save me in the kitchen. And I was so excited about the guard because I was a little scared of mandolin, let's be honest. I worked in restaurants. I'd seen many a hand sliced on a mandolin, but I still wanted one in my kitchen. So I was super excited about it. The thing that I love about a mandolin is that you can do such a paper thin slice, such a paper thin slice. And I love that. And you can do soft vegetables like tomatoes. You can make it slice so thin and so uniform. So when you're having a cookout or whatever, you look like a pro, right? Because you're everything just sliced so like perfectly. But when you're doing things like this, if you are doing your own potato chips, your own apple chips, or whatever it is you're doing, if you like dehydrate vegetables, it's perfect for that. Yes, I'm a little bit of a crunchy mom. I don't advertise that, but I do make a lot of my own stuff. And so I do have a dehydrator. But the good thing about apple chips and anything that you use a dehydrator for, you can use an oven. And I'm pretty sure everybody's got an oven in their house. Okay. So you can also use an air fryer to dehydrate things as well. So I'm sure all of us have one of these things in our house, most likely the oven. And so with the oven, you just turn it really low. So I actually have some chips in there right now. And so it's at like 225. And you want to make sure it's down to 225, not 325, because earlier today I was just messing around. I got distracted. I thought it was at 225. It was actually at 325. And I pulled them out. I was like, wow, these are really brown. Why are they so brown? I am thinking, why are they oxidized in there? And I was like, oh, 325. All right. So make sure you know what you're doing, paying attention, right? But the house smells so delicious. And since I'm not a baker, this is the closest thing my family gets to that baking smell, right? Is these apple chips. All right. So I love making them. The kids eat them so fast that they don't last very long typically. And I know what's in them, right? So if I want to add sugar, I can add sugar and I can make sure it's the sugar that I want. And also, if I don't, I can just add cinnamon. You can add whatever you want to them. You can make them spicy. You can add whatever, you know? So that's the cool thing that I love about that. And that's what I like about making my own stuff is I can add what I want in it. And that honestly is what drives me more than anything else is just a lot of times I want different ingredients than what is in the store. It's nothing more than that. Okay. It's not that I think I'm better at making these things than, Nabisco, right? It's just that I just want different ingredients, right? And sometimes I need different ingredients because, I can't do gluten and all that kind of good stuff. So with our apple chips, I have this turned to the number two notch, right? So I have it turned to the number two notch there. And like I said, the thing that I love about the mandolin is you can adjust the width that you're going to be cutting. And that's what you use this little dial for. But then also, let me turn it down so you can see. Then also it has these little teeth that come up. And what that does is that will do your French fry cut, but it will also do dicing and stuff like that. When you do some kind of fancy work with as you're doing your cuts, you kind of do some twists and things like that. And so, and the cool thing is it comes with instructions that tells you how to do all those wonderful cuts. And what I did when I first got it was I just got a bag of potatoes and I just went to town and I just like played with it. And I actually was slicing potatoes for mashed potatoes. So it didn't matter how they were cooked, or I mean, how they were cut, right? Because I was going to mash them anyway. So I just made waffle cuts and I made all these different cuts, just trying it out and seeing what I could do. So that was how I kind of learned all the different cuts. And I have my favorites. The ones I use the most is just the slice, the French fry, and the dice. But me, nice. That's what I use the most. All right. So all we're gonna do is we put our apple right down in there, and I didn't core it or anything, right? You can core it. You can use our core and just like core it, but you really don't need to. And honestly, when you don't core it, then you have that fun little star in the middle, which is kind of fun. And once you bake it, you don't really see any of that stuff, anyways. So all you do is just slice it, and it's so easy. And you'll figure it out. Like if you want like paper thin, almost like potato chips, like those really fine potato chips, you're going to want to do it nice and thin, right? But if you want it to be a little bit thicker and crunchier, you're going to need to bake it a little bit longer, and you'll just cut it a little bit thicker, right? And so it'll be really good for that. But see, my fun little star. But you can also cut these a little bit bigger, and you can make like apple nachos. You can also cut them a little bit bigger and take like a skewer and just kind of like, if this was thicker, actually I'll do one. Let me see. Well, let's put it like there. All right, let's slide that over. And I'm just gonna, yeah, that's, we'll see. And you can just kind of poke it right. Whoop, I split it. Okay, but you get the point, right? You can poke it, I split it in there, but you can poke the skewer right up through there, and it's almost like a little pop. And so then you can dip it into chocolate or caramel or things like that. It's a lot easier to eat than a caramel apple. How many of you have ever like been like, trying to eat a caramel apple? You get it all over your face, right? A lot easier this way, am I right? Okay, you'll look a lot. So to be better for like a, date night, eating a caramel apple very daintily like this versus like that. Okay, so that could work. So lots of cool, fun things you can do with your apples. Yes, not very ladylike. Bonnie is right. All right, and I am all lady. I mean, anybody who knows me knows that. Just joking. Anybody who knows me knows that I'm pretty much there with it. But all right, so that is our slice, or that's our slices. Let me just take a peek at our chip. All right, no, keep going. All right, so, but also a tip for when you're doing your chips. So you want to put on parchment paper, or you could use our silicone mats, right? So I don't have the silicone mats, and here's why. Because they get seasoned, and because I'm gluten-free, and it's not, we don't have a gluten-free house, if you use silicone, they will get gluten on them, and I can't get it off. So we don't use silicone mats in our house, and that's why. So just a little tip, if you have somebody in your life that has celiac and they're very sensitive, if you're baking for them, use parchment. All right, so if you have parchment paper and it's like at the end of the roll like mine is, and it keeps like rolling like this, so I'm trying to get it to lay flat, this is gonna be really loud, so anybody using like headphones right now, I'm really sorry. But you want to crumble it, right? So you just crumble it up, and then you'll be able to get it to lay really flat. So you can spread it out. It's not going to roll on you, right? So then you don't have to worry about that. And then you're just going to line your chips up, right? And then I'm just going to put cinnamon on these. I don't want anything else. Sometimes I put, like I said, sometimes I put some sugar. I like to use coconut sugar. Sometimes it has sort of a caramelly taste, and that's really yummy. There it is. I'm like, where's my cinnamon? Right? So all I'm doing is just going to sprinkle some cinnamon right on here. Right? So good, right? Now, also another thing, if I was making like the pops or the nachos, I probably would go ahead and pour it just to get that stuff out of the way, because somebody doesn't want to like, bite in and they get the stuff that's like around the seed. That's kind of like, not awesome. All right, so I'm going to move the cutting board out of the way, and then I'm going to show you the dip. All right, so full disclosure, okay. I use my choppers almost every day. I use the whip attachment. Never. I've never used my whip attachment. Okay. That's just not how I work. So I'm actually really organized with the things I use, but with the pieces and parts that I don't use. So I couldn't find my whip attachment. Now, if I could find my whip attachment, that's what I could use for this dip. So I only found it for my big one. And the dip is such a small portion of dip, it would get lost in that big one. So if I could find the whip attachment for this one, this would be ideal. So when you do this demo for your parties, you want to use this one, okay? It would be perfect. All right, but use a bowl and a spatula. All right, so all right, so I hope you guys are laughing and you're not judging me right now, but if you are judging me, it's okay. All right, so this is a half a cup of Greek yogurt, and I'll put a link on Champion to this recipe because I just got off of Pinterest, right? So it's a half a cup of Greek yogurt. So I just use Faya, right? I just use that. And it's just plain Greek yogurt, right? Nothing fancy. It's something you can buy at any store. And so it's just half a cup, right? And then I also have 2 tablespoons of almond milk I already put in there. And then I'm going to put our half a cup, and it's just any nut butter that you want. So if you like peanut butter, put peanut butter. I have somebody in my house that is not really allergic. I don't know what the deal is, but they don't like peanut butter, or they don't, peanut butter doesn't like them. I don't know. Anyways, we don't do peanut butter typically. So that's the only reason why I just use the almond butter. But if you like peanut butter, use it, sun butter, whatever. I don't care, whatever butter you want to use. Right. So I'm gonna put that in there. And then it also has a quarter of a teaspoon of vanilla. I already have that measured out right here, and love that I can pre-measure that, and I can just dump it right in and just use like regular old vanilla extract, right? And then of course cinnamon, right? So half a teaspoon of cinnamon. I already have that measured out. And then I'm gonna stop that because it's gonna keep beeping. And what else does it have? It has it has maple syrup, and I use maple syrup because I love it and it tastes like liquid candy. When I actually tasted real maple syrup for the first time, I was like, I kind of get out like drinking it by the gallon because I was ready to do that because it tastes so good. If you've never had pure maple syrup, it's a game changer, and you will never, ever have the other stuff ever again. Okay, I promise you. All right, so I'm gonna measure this with my heart, okay, but I think it says like a tablespoon. So I'm just gonna kind of looks good to me. All right, so I love maple syrup. All right, so healthy. I feel like this is pretty healthy. I mean, these are pretty healthy ingredients. Maple syrup is a pretty healthy sugar. It's natural, so you can't really go wrong with that. So that's it. That is all that is in this little dip. I mean, sounds pretty good. I'm pretty excited to try it. When I saw the recipe, I was like, yeah, this sounds perfect. Because I was like, when it said there was a dip recipe, I was like, let me guess, cream cheese, which don't get me wrong. Love me some cream cheese. But I'm always looking for something that's a little bit lighter of an alternative just to make it a little bit better. So anyways, so this is an easy demo that you guys could do, especially since our Mandoline is about to go on sale, right? So you can do a demo like this really easy for your parties, or even just have some friends over and just do a survey type of a party and be like, hey guys, come over. I'm going to be using my Mandoline because I need to practice. I need to practice demonstrating it. So can you come over and I can just like make some apple chips for you, and then you can just I can practice talking about it, and then we can all eat apple chips and I don't know, have hard cider. I don't know what goes with apple chips. So yeah, practice parties are the best, right, Bonnie? All right. So thank you guys so much. And I hope that this helps empower you that, you know what, it's really not that difficult. And it's okay if you're missing pieces and parts. It's not that deep. Just, grab a bowl and spatula and get it done. All right. Bye, guys.